overtime. Oh, gee, baby.
There she is.
Charlie Hurt is here, which has been really fun to have you.
It's been so fun for me.
It wasn't a real late night last night after this primary. Now, next Tuesday, it's 5 states, and I think it's going to be late. What do you think?
Yeah, well, also, it's always nice when it's on the East Coast because then it gets done early. But also, both of them won by such convincing margins. It was sort of easy to figure out what was going to happen.
What do you think is coming ahead next week, and how much what's at stake?
I think a lot's at stake because, Donald Trump still has an opportunity to mathematically reach the 1237 and certainly come within a distance of the 1237 that the unbound delegates can close the deal for him, which, of course, is the purpose of the unbound delegates in the Republican primary. And we will see over the remainder of the race whether or not he's able to do that. And then, obviously, I don't think Donald Trump is going anywhere, and I don't think John Kasich is going anywhere.
Can I ask you a question? So if John Kasich and Ted Cruz, without knowing that the other were to do this, dropped out on one day, and you have Donald Trump left, what happens?
I think that's fantasy.
That's it, right? It doesn't matter how many.
I'm just curious
because there are calls for both of them to get out. I don't think John Kasich ever would because
I love it,
Ohio,
Julie.
Right?
Julie's like,
Charlie's like, what?
Well, no. It's actually a very interesting question. I think actually, if you want to know what would happen, well, that's what usually does happen in the Republican primary, and that's why this one is so strange and it is so contentious. Is the fact that usually all the opponents, the people that don't have a shot at winning, do get out at some point, and some of them get out very, very early. Normally, by South Carolina and Florida, we're starting to have an idea about who's going to win, and everybody bows out, and then at this point, maybe the eventual nominee still doesn't have the 1237, but it's pretty well guaranteed that since they're the only person on the ballot, that they're going to wind up getting it. And I think that quite frankly, one of the reasons that Donald Trump supporters they feel this frustration is the fact that they're having to go to these great lengths that Donald Trump and I think you were saying about what a terrible job the campaign did with rounding up delegates and learning the whole process, and obviously that is absolutely true. They're very late to that game. They're getting on it now, but in their defense, they were, I think, probably wrongly assuming that, it never goes to this.
You're never going to need it.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't need to know how it works in Colorado because you won't get there.
What a terrible assumption. That is like campaign malpractice. If they were lawyers, they would be disbarred for what they're doing. And I say this.
Julie's trying to start something on the
right. No, I'm not saying this. I say this as somebody who does campaigns for a living. To me, not planning for every eventuality is the biggest campaign malpractice. I mean, my goodness, you should plan for the sky to turn purple tomorrow. I mean, you have to, because if you don't, that is absolutely, it's like being a trial lawyer and not planning for having a surprise witness or not planning for every outcome. It's the same thing. If they were lawyers, as I said, they'd be disbarred. There should be some sort of bar association for people who do what I do for a living.
You're obviously exactly right, but I
don't want to pay dues.
That is that's been his weakness, but it's also been his strength because he is an outsider and he doesn't know. He's just walking in.
People like that about him.
Yeah, and he doesn't.
So what's the craziest scenario you're planning for, Julie?
That I'm planning for in my life? No. I'm just trying to get through the day, my friend. I'm just trying to make sure I get some lunch. I know.
I was just going to say, pick a side. Democrats, Republicans.
At home. I got reamed out when I woke up this morning about the fact that his choice did not win the Democratic primary.
Your 3-year-old had a horse in the race last night?
My 3-year-old had a massive horse in the race. And
Who does he like?
He wanted Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders is from Vermont. And maple syrup comes from Vermont, and he loves maple syrup, and he thinks now that Bernie Sanders may not be president that we're not going to have any more maple syrup.
Wow, and that's your fault.
And it's my fault. It is my fault.
Wow.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel like I know you so much better now.
I know. Well, welcome to my pain.
Oh. Hey, I want to get to the live chat, and I know this will feel a little bit like a Debbie Downer, but it is where we were on TV a short time before we went live to the web here, and that is that college campus. And I'm going to let you set this up, Megan, so people know what was going on.
There's an ad that came out that's been released that's talking about women pretending to get an acceptance letter from college, basically saying 1 in 5 of you will be raped. And whether or not that was a good ad or not, I think it's fear-mongering and ridiculous, and I think we should address campus rape in a more effective and responsible manner. But people apparently on the chat
so on the chat they're saying Ireland SK, wow, and all caps. That was a creepy ad. Got my attention. Let's see. Scribble 646, college is obviously a dangerous, evil place, so we certainly shouldn't be funding it publicly. Wow. I think it's a powerful message. Go to college and get raped. It is pathetic we are even having this conversation. Very effective, Emily Trex. And then, I mean, you suggested, Meghan, you liked weapons on campus. Kevin Dubuque says, a gun, Meghan? What about a stun gun or pepper spray? And then I made the point that I think it goes too far.
I think women should protect themselves in any way possible. And I think for me, I can't pack heat here in New York City. When I go home to Arizona, I always feel safer. And I think, guns are the great equalizer in a fight between men and women.
MNP Hookah says, go Meghan. Trouble 2K Harris, it's called bringing attention to an issue. Look, if I have a son and that letter is going out and I know already boys, young boys, and you're raising young girls and boys, we've kind of gotten to this place in society where we don't have honest conversations with each other about what's going on. So we just want to punish one side. My concern is that there wasn't a lot of solution in that ad, right? Like, contact your local college and find out what their security is like. Or, this was a mock ad, but the real issue here is there are self-defense classes that are being offered at the school you're getting ready to go to, or so on and so forth. And when they talk to young men, they're going to make sure that they get the right person and that they get the right punishment, so on and so forth. I don't know. I just thought it.
But I think
it inflamed without a lot of solution.
But I think we said this on the TV version of our show. But they were trying to bring attention to the fact that a lot of times these administrations, in their opinion, again, I'm not saying they're right or they're wrong, but in their opinion, the administrations tend to not punish these boys. Now, I'm raising a young boy. I'm hoping by the time he goes to college, or if not much sooner, or as in today, he knows it's inappropriate to touch anybody inappropriately. And so that's fine. And that's my job as a mother to teach him. But unfortunately, there are boys out there that don't know that lesson. And so for those boys, these group of women think that the colleges are not doing enough to penalize those boys, that if you get accused of raping somebody, that you don't necessarily get suspended or kicked out. You potentially, unless you get convicted. Whether that's right or wrong is a different story. Anybody can accuse anybody of anything. So whether the penalty and the punishment fit the crime is a different story. But from their perspective, administrations across the country are not doing enough to address this epidemic that they feel is happening. Well,
and you mentioned during the show, too, Sandra, a good point that it isn't just women who are being raped. And so young boys are getting this message, too, as potential victims. You have a 14-year-old. So, what are your conversations going to be like, do you think? I mean, you're a teenager.
They're very frank and they're very serious, and they're very, thoughtful, which none of those words I would use to describe that particular ad. But, one of the other big problems that I think that this does sort of highlight is the issue of college campuses, universities, trying to take matters into their own hands, when the truth of the matter is the local authorities, local prosecutors should be involved in these things.
Wow.
And the colleges and the universities oftentimes will try to take control because they want to control the damage control or something that's embarrassing to them. And they're completely not equipped to do it, and their only concern is protecting their own image. Whereas the prosecutor should, if somebody commits a horrible, heinous crime, then the person should be absolutely prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and the college and university should step out.
My mom did talk to me about rape on college and sexual assaults and date rape and drugs before I went to college. I remember specifically having many conversations. Never accept a drink from someone unless you've actually seen it given to you by the bartender. Always call your roommate when you're out before you come home. Things like that. And I think maybe having a conversation with parents and with kids before they go to college, having some kind of seminar. That to me seems
again,
like
these are solutions. I mean, I get what the ad's doing. All right, so the last one on this, MF Antonio says, ladies, the purpose of that video is to bring awareness to families and future students students on college campuses. What are you supposed to do after you receive that letter? And that is the big question. Yeah. You be on guard. You watch out for one another, as you're saying. All right.
My dad always just told me, he shoved me off to college and said, nothing good ever happens after midnight. Just make sure you go to bed. So last question before we go. I'll change the subject. We only have a little bit left. Tell me more about the Bernie Sanders supporters you saw out the other night.
You know what? I just have this issue with Bernie Sanders supporters that I have yet to find one who can talk extensively about his plans and his policy and all his foreign policy and things like that and his tax plans, or to tell me how he's going to break up the banks. I'm sure there are educated Bernie Sanders supporters out there. I'm just not running into them at parties.
Okay.
And it makes me like actually like visceral. I'm like, we have to stop talking.
How do you get to Democratic parties? I never get invited to Democratic parties. I only go to Republican parties. I know. I need to hang with. That's all I did. I need to hang with you. My God, I need to hang out with some Democrats.
I was in Austin, and I went to a party with good close friends of mine. They were all Bernie Sanders supporters, and I was bringing up stuff, and they were like, "That's not true." And I was like, "I didn't just give you an opinion. I gave you a fact, and that's not subjective." And
Whoa! That sounds like a fun party.
And then I was like, "Stop talking." I know.
All right.
Oh, we love you, Meghan.
I love you guys too.
Charlie Hurt, come back anytime.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, fun chat.
Good to have you.
All right.
We will see you after the TV version of us wraps up tomorrow. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.